I want to talk about value or worth. I want to talk about value or worth. And as we talk about this, I want us to recognize some things here. First of all, that America is desperate uh, for individuals to reestablish self-esteem. Self-esteem has always been imperative in the life of humanity because of its internal factor that assists in deciding whether a person is a success in life or whether that person is a failure. And Tim, social experts and behavioral scientists have concluded that a person's self-esteem is assessed by how one is treated, how you are handled, what stock you hold socially with people. And not only that, but also what stock they hold in you. So the question today is, as we look at ourselves and as we look at our relationships, the question is today, Denise, is how are you measured? Are you treated as a person with value, or are you treated as a person with worth? And it's important to know this because value and worth has are two words that are often confused when it comes to the usage and the meaning. It's important that we understand and answer these two questions. Do people deal with you because they see your value, or do people deal with you because of what you are worth to them? See, because the word value, Deaconess Davison, is used in the sense of importance. So when we talk about value, we're talking about how important a thing is. But on the other hand, worth is used in the sense of the cost of a product or a particular thing or the greatness in a particular person. So when we look at the difference between worth, Deacon Young, and value, Deacon Bowler, then it is necessary for us to come to that conclusion, because worth is based on what is contributed. Therefore, worth can fluctuate from the state of increase to decrease, and it's relative to your productivity. In short, when we measure worth, worth can always change. Worth can increase and worth can decrease. And it increases and it decreases based upon your production. If you produce a lot, then your worth to people will go up. But if you don't produce, then if people measure you by worth, then your worth can go down. Now, value never fluctuates. It never increases and it never decreases. The reason being, Elder Rayner, is because it is an innate quality of a person, place, or thing. It is the thing that you are. When we talk about an individual's value, we are talking about that person's internal self. When we talk about their worth, we're talking about how they produce. And it's important that I have this conversation today because many of us are measured, yes, by our worth than we are by our value. For instance, the example is water. If we look at water, water in the West is worth not much. But if you go to Africa or the Sudan, water doesn't have worth. Water is valuable. In the West, we look beyond the fact that water is valuable because water is so accessible. But if you were not living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and at least had some kinfolk around, you would understand that water has a greater value than what we place on it. So the difference is that in one place, water can be accessed with greater ease than the other. Therefore, it demands greater respect. So when you can get to a thing easier in one place than you can in another, then the thing might have worth, but it does not have value. And we treat it that way. Think about how you would treat a Pepsi Cola versus a bottle or a glass of water. Think about how you would treat a ginger ale in comparison to how you would treat water. We tend to treat water with less value because water to us is not worth much. But here's the problem. If you didn't have water, you would stop measuring water by its worth, and you would start measuring it by its value. If all of see, it's amazing how we mistreat lights in our house. We flip them on, leave them on, walk away. But then when negative circumstances happen in our life and they cut the lights off, it seems like lights become more valuable to us because they're not easily accessed. Think about water again. As long as water is easy to access, then we turn the water on, we leave it running, does not matter, take 25-minute showers, turn the water on, walk down the hall, don't come back. When we come back, oh, I left the water on, wash 15 cars, don't get no money for it. But then when negative circumstances happen and we can't get the water, water becomes valuable. In fact, when your water gets cut off, it seems like your mouth wants some water. Everybody else just sit still because I'm coming your way. So Jesus faced this dilemma. Question is, did people value Jesus for who he really is? Or did they value Jesus for what he did? I need you all to get this. See, because many people did not really value Jesus. They just put up with him because he had something that they needed. They did not respect the value of his innate qualities because they didn't, watch this, they didn't really accept him for who he was. They didn't value him. They put a price tag on his worth based upon the fact that they needed something from Jesus. They needed him to heal their sick. They needed him to raise their dead. They needed him to preach to them good words to overshadow negative thoughts. And then they also needed Jesus in order for them to have a square meal. Watch this. I'm taking my time today, and I feel good about it. Because in chapter 6, verse number 1, it starts off by saying, after these things, Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias, and a great multitude followed him because, watch this, they saw his miracles, which he had done on them that were diseased. And when Jesus got there, they followed him because in chapter 5, he healed the sick in the synagogue. So when he gets there, they have another expectation